You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.
Oh my gosh. I love that song. Oh my god. Hello, Polished Women. Don't you love that song? I love that song. Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj, right? Getting ready for tomorrow, whatever it is, for whatever future, getting ready. Now, our topic for today is very interesting. It's a life after divorce. What is life after divorce? Here is our guest today. She will tell us all about it. But before that, ending a relationship can be hard when you've been dating someone for a long time, or if you've been a huge part of each other's lives. But it's even more difficult to end things when you've been married. And ending a marriage isn't just about the end of the part of your life. It's also about restarting your life as a single person, which isn't always as easy as it sounds. And I've been through that. Well, I was never married, but then I had 2 kids with another guy, and it was hard letting go of someone. I was not even married. It was really hard and not depressing, but I don't know. It was a hard time. Overwhelming, right? For us women. So my what do you call that? My guest for today is a little bit hard to pronounce her last name.
Not too bad.
I'm joined by amazing Claudia Garcia Gazan Fari.
Perfect.
A
That was
woman who is
perfect.
thriving after her divorce. Oh my gosh, I pronounced it
Perfectly.
You should tell your ex-husband. Hello, Claudia.
I will. Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Before we start talking about your new life, I think it's important that we talk a little bit about, your old life, which is your married life, before you and your husband even started thinking about divorce. What was your marriage like? She has a very good life.
It was wonderful. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. Our marriage was lovely. We were the perfect couple. We were invited to every party, every dinner. Everyone wanted to come to our home. We traveled. We were loving to each other. We have 2 great kids. 18 years.
Yeah, they have 2 kids, right?
Yes.
18 years of loving each other. No woman, nobody, right? No.
Right.
What do you call that? No cheating,
No
no
cheating.
nothing.
No cheating.
This is the first time that I've heard of this after 18 years. It is more of the financial aspect of the
That
marriage, right?
was definitely what undid us.
Yeah.
But looking back now, I think that there were definitely other issues, perhaps.
Okay.
Mistakes that I made, mistakes that he made.
Yeah.
But that's what undid us. Yes.
Yeah, it's always like that, you guys. I never believed that it was the guy's mistake or it was the, woman's mistake. It's not. I think it's always the woman and the man's mistake.
Absolutely.
It's always like that.
Absolutely.
That's why when I talk to someone, I don't want to listen to just the woman talking to me. I said, okay, let me talk to your husband. See what, I want to see what he says. So what made you start considering getting divorced? I mean, and did you even try, harder before you really decided to,
Yes.
to end your marriage?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we started out with nothing, living with his parents. I was working, he was working. We got married, and
She paid for their wedding
I
anyways.
did. I
That's so
saved,
nice
saved,
of you.
saved. I'm big on saving. I still am.
Yeah.
So I saved. So I didn't want to come into the marriage or with any relationship with nothing, or be on my own with nothing. So when we decided to get married, I said, I have this much saved. What do you want to do? And he said, let's use it for the wedding.
Yeah.
And we did. And I felt that we were in a very committed partnership.
Yes.
When I had my first child, I continued to work, and at a certain point, we decided to have a second, and that's when we decided I would stay at home and raise both kids. My daughter was 6 at the time. I stopped working. I was in real estate. I am again. And I stopped working. When I realized there were issues was when the economy tanked. Everything
This
changed.
was like 2007,
7, 8,
2008, right? That was the time I actually moved here
Yes. Oh, really?
in the U.S. Yeah, it was really bad, you guys.
So we should blame you.
Yeah, she's blaming me now. Yeah, it was not. It's just not you. I
know.
I know
And
of a
I
lot
realized
of people.
that.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, you think it's just you. You think no one
Yes.
else is going through
Yes.
this. You see everyone going on with their lives,
Yeah.
and you wonder, is it just me? Is it okay and polite to talk about this to other people? And that's
Okay.
what I learned.
Okay.
You have to talk to your closest friends and, use them as sounding boards.
This is when you need friends.
You do. You really do. And I was taught to be very private and personal about many marital matters. Finances were one of them. I was even too shy to talk to him about how much money do we have and how much do we have saved. I just knew we had it, and that was enough.
So in short, you never really, how do I say this? I think she's like me. You never really check on his finances.
Exactly.
You basically 100% trusted him.
Absolutely.
Okay, he's buying all this. He's giving me this. I'm well supported. So I'm trusting you with everything.
Absolutely.
Right? You ask him those questions like,
Yes.
is everything okay? And all they say is like, yes, yes. Men are actually like that though. They will never tell you if there's any problem because you know
Exactly.
why? Because they love us and they don't want us to worry.
Don't worry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And I feel that if I would have been a true partner and I would have been aware of what was happening and involved myself a bit more, I could have probably supported him and not let him take so much on. All of the quietness when we weren't doing well. And I went to his office regularly and I saw the same staff there. He wasn't cutting down.
Okay.
Everyone looked happy. Everyone was getting paid. So I took it as everyone's doing well, we're doing well.
Okay.
But at some point, I noticed that the gardener wasn't coming by anymore.
Okay.
The pool wasn't getting cleaned regularly.
Okay.
And then I would ask him, the pool hasn't been cleaned, the lawn hasn't been mowed, and this is a 1 acre property,
Yeah.
and he would say, oh, let me call them and see what's going on. Then he would probably catch up on payments and they would show up and then it would start again. I asked him then, are we okay? Do we need to downsize? We don't need these cars, we don't need the big house.
Yeah.
And he assured me everything was fine until I started getting notices and seeing the mail, that we were not okay.
Okay.
And that's when it gets difficult, when your partner or your husband doesn't want to face that things have to change.
The reality of it.
Reality of it. And I think my kids were starting to notice as well. And he wasn't open to talking about it with me. I think the protectiveness that you spoke of, he definitely wanted to be protective. He wanted me to not worry about it and all of us to live the same life we had before. It just wasn't possible anymore.
Yeah, they just really protect. Men just really protect their wives, and especially that's why I know when you're talking to me, my husband is the same thing. It means he really loves you.
Okay.
It's yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so pro marriage. No, it
That's
means he
one
really
way to
does
see it.
love you because he doesn't want you to worry. He doesn't want you. He wants. How do I say this? They're like that. They want to like. Okay, I can do this on my own. Like, I'll do this, and you just stay there and be happy and take care of our kids. That's what he wanted. Yeah?
I agree.
Yeah.
But now I realize that that's not enough. I think every woman out there needs to be.
See, listen to this. Yeah.
I think every woman out there needs to do everything that they're doing, plus in charge, not necessarily in charge, but aware of what the finances are, of how much the household is spending, how much is coming in. We're very good at that.
Okay.
And I know he was a huge business owner, running a few companies, helping his employees start their own companies. So I know he's a great businessman. But I think I forgot that I'm also a smart woman, and I didn't come into nothing with the marriage.
Yes.
Because, I wasn't just ready to, I'm going to get married, I'm not going to work, and I'm just going to sit at home. I let it all be handled by him, and I should have stayed on top of it as well. Not so much to be demanding or for any other reason other than because we're partners and this is a marriage and there are supposed to be no secrets.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I hate when people say or women say that, oh, I can't, like, that's his own personal thing. You know what? No,
I
you're
felt that way.
marriage.
I felt that
You
way.
felt that, and now it's actually really, really wrong.
Mhm.
You have to know every single thing that's happening
Yes.
to your husband, his finances, everything, and that's why they even say, oh, it's disgusting that you know his password and blah blah blah. But I think, you know what? No, I need to know his password. I need to know every
Exactly.
single thing because I'm his wife, right?
Exactly.
And this is what happened. She like literally left it all and just trusted him, but then now look what happened.
And I did have passwords to his computer, to his phone.
Yeah.
Not that and I would never bother to snoop. That's how much I trusted him. And I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think with things that matter, when it's your life and your children's life and his life, because you love him, you should be involved in every aspect.
Weren't he giving you like money or cash or something or allowance?
No, that's something else that I learned.
Yeah.
There
okay,
was
listen.
I had a little bit more than half of the company was under my name.
Okay.
And that made me feel very secure. I felt very secure that it's all under my name. Most of it is under my name. And I never asked him for a paycheck or cash because I felt I'm at home. I have my credit cards, American Express. I can go anywhere I want, buy anything I want, but I never had my own bank account. We had a joint account, and then he had his account where he paid everything from.
Okay.
And there were no red flags because there was never infidelity, there was never, drugs, drinking, nothing.
Okay.
So I was fine with that. What I would do differently now is definitely say, I'm spending this much. I want some of that in cash and put some savings.
Yeah, cash is always good.
Yes.
I call that whenever I ask money from my husband, all that. Okay, give me some money for our keep money.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I always like, and actually they get irritated by it, but I don't care. I need that.
And most of them walk around with like a huge wad of money in their pocket anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we need to learn to do that as well.
Yeah.
We need a huge wad of, I don't know how many $1,000 in our purse, just in case, pocket money.
My husband doesn't know. I always like get 100 or 200.
Well,
whatever
the
there's
same
money.
here. Same here. He would forget, and it would come up in the laundry, and I would, the times I did laundry, I would find it, or he would say, you only like to do my laundry because you find all the cash in there. And it's true, 2,000, 3,000. And I would put that away, but it wasn't the same as if I was getting a steady paycheck. I mean, we work hard at home too, raising the kids, keeping the home looking the way it does. Keeping ourselves up. We work hard too. We should get a paycheck.
See, she would work out. She would make sure that she looks good. Like,
absolutely,
she did all those things.
Yes.
But it's really just sometimes if you don't have that much of communication and just really, okay, we have to sit down. What's happening? That. But
exactly.
Sometimes men just don't want to open up. 100%.
They don't want to.
They don't
but
want to.
why don't they want to? We should be open in every aspect.
I know, but I think for me, I think because he didn't want you to worry. I think that was my whole thing. He didn't want you to worry. He didn't want you to what do you call that? Forget whatever the stuff that you're doing. He wants you to continue it. He loves you. That's why. Trust me. Okay, what was the scariest thing for you to deal with once you got divorced? What was the scary part of it? Like, once you got divorced, you told me that.
Yes, we lost everything. So the scariest thing was, can I raise 2 kids on my own with one income? And the answer was no, I need 2 incomes. So I took...
So you didn't, because she didn't go to work. Like, she stopped working for years.
For years.
Can you imagine going back to working again?
Yes, in your late 30s.
Yeah. It's hard. When you're older, it's hard,
It
right?
is hard.
Because they want to hire younger people.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And, things tend to change. So you're coming into something that you might be familiar with or unfamiliar with. But in my case, things have progressed a bit, and I had to play catch up. But that was it. The hardest part was knowing if I was going to be able to pay my own rent, pay for my own car, my kids and my health insurance.
So you started and moved to a different house.
We were separated for many years under the same roof.
Okay.
Until
wait, you stayed with him in the same roof for you? Oh my gosh,
I took one of the spare bedrooms and was living there, and we didn't have a sit down talk about we're separating. It just happened.
Isn't that so hard, living in one roof and you're still with your husband, right?
Yes, but I was working. He was still at home. So I would leave in the morning, come back in the evening, and he would go out in the evening and come back in the morning. So I was driving the kids to school and then driving myself to work, then leaving to go pick them up. And then I was working in escrow at the time, real estate. And then I also a licensed realtor, so if someone would call and wanted to see houses, I made sure to schedule them in the afternoons or whatever worked for them, but usually in the afternoons I would drop off the kids at home and go do that and still cook at home and still, do the things I needed to do. It was exhausting.
Oh, you're a super mom.
You have to do what you have to do. I wanted to keep their lives as normal as possible, which is another reason why I stayed living in the house. I didn't want to break up the home. It was not an easy decision.
How was it with the kids? How did they accept the whole thing? Was for sure it was hard, but was any one of them affected?
I think definitely it affects everyone in different ways. I have amazing children. They're amazing, and I cannot say they lashed out and started doing this because of that. No, they're perfect. They're wonderful, and people always think
that's really good.
Yes, they're amazing. My daughter worked harder. She realized, things changed. I need to figure out how I'm going to get scholarships and pay for my own college because it's a big possibility you're not going to be able to do that. So she worked harder. And my son was always very well applied at school and sports. I do think that it took a toll on them. My daughter was very supportive of my decision. My son said, I don't want to know the details, but whatever you want to do, I'll go with you. So to me, that was very nice to hear that they were both going with me, but I think it affected my son in the part that he did not want to communicate about it. He didn't want to talk about it. He just wanted to keep it quiet. And it might be a guy thing. It might be a guy thing. It might be his personality, but that's how I think it affected him a bit. Like, we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to deal with it.
How old are your kids?
My daughter is now 23 and my son just turned 18.
Oh my gosh. Well, at least you don't have like those little tiny kids that you have to...
They were little when we separated. I mean, somewhat still, 7 years ago that we were living in the same house, and I've been divorced. It'll be 2 years this year, so...
Oh, wow. So only 2 years, but then you've been separated for 5 years.
Prior to that, yes.
Okay. Was it hard, like, signing those papers?
It was hard getting him to sign the papers.
See?
I knew.
He loves you. Oh my
You're
God.
You're so romantic. I love it.
and
there is certainly always going to be love. We're still family. We just had lunch with his mom yesterday. He was there, I was there, my son was there. I love his mother, I love his family, his sister, his dad. Him and I still, are on good terms. I just think that romantic part of it is over.
Why? I'm still like pushing her to be with the husband. Okay, so was there anything that was easier for you to handle than you thought it would be? Like, was there anything that was easy? Oh, I can do this. Like, I can handle this.
Absolutely. My biggest fear was I'm not going to make the rent every month. I'm probably going to be behind. If something happens,
doesn't he like help you at all?
Now he does.
Okay.
Now he does. Yes.
Okay. So when he was really, really down, he couldn't like afford.
He wasn't working. He couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So I spend a lot of time praying and meditating, and I called on my girlfriends and I told them our life is about to change. These are the mothers of the boys that my son plays with, and I let them know I may need to call on you to pick him up from school sometimes. He may have to sleep over sometimes. are you willing to help me? And they were very surprised. We had such a wonderful marriage. They were surprised to know that we were getting a divorce and that all of this was happening. I called on them. They stepped up. They helped me pick him up. They said he could sleep over. They were, including him in trips. And I was surprised that I was able to make the rent every month, never late, make my car payment every month, but I had to work 2 jobs. I have to sell real estate and I have to work in an office sometimes. Yeah. So it is doable. You have to have a plan. You have to be focused.
And it didn't put her down. It didn't make her depressed. It actually made her stronger.
It did actually. Everyone said to me, "You look better now than you did ever." And I can't believe it. Obviously I'm a lot older, but I started losing weight after working out more, have more energy. I would come home and tell the kids, at 9 o'clock, we're going to the movies. They're like, what? You just came from working 2 jobs. I'm like, I want to go see this new movie. Or we're going to go ice skating in the winter, in downtown. Or we're going to go to the beach when I come home. And it just made me enjoy life more. Yeah. Working hard, doing things for myself made me enjoy life more. And I think if I would have continued to do something while I was married, I probably wouldn't be where I was a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's so nice. I want to ask you this for a quick. Was there ever a low point or an experience that made you feel like maybe the divorce was the wrong decision?
No.
Okay, no.
I know you're romantic. No.
What do you think helped you to not feel like that?
I was doing well. I tried. Well, it was not an easy decision to separate or get a divorce, and I tried everything. I tried talking to him. I tried working it out. I tried being loving. I tried being supportive. I knew I had tried everything.
You tried for 5 years,
I
right?
did. Yeah. So having tried everything, I knew it was the right decision, and I knew that, okay, I have to count on myself now, and that pushed me forward, and that's what continues to push me forward.
Oh, do you have any final words or advice that you'd like to share for women who may be getting divorced?
Absolutely, absolutely. Do not be afraid. You will get through it. The finances, if you're not being helped by your spouse, you will get through it. Everyone has to start over. It's doable. You're strong. Just make a plan. Do not be afraid to ask your friends for support. Do not be afraid to cry. And get out there and just start trying. You can do it.
Yay! Oh my God, that's so good. But they're gonna go out of town for like 3 weeks.
We are taking things to change. We are taking a family trip.
I'm telling you, just pray about it and see.
I'll let you know when I come back.
No, there were like a couple of things when my husband and I had some serious problems as well, where I needed to have the trust back again, and I did. Okay, so just try. Anyway, my advice: deciding to get married is a major decision, and so is deciding to get divorced. Oh, that's so hard. And if your relationship is rocky, but you can save it without either you or your partner losing yourself or becoming miserable in the process, then I recommend that. However, as Claudia demonstrates, it's so important to be true to yourself and make sure you're living a life you love and are happy with. So, tip of the day: once you get married, get the book Date Like a Girl. So you will not divorce. You will get. Nowadays, we forget that men still want to be, they still want to be with a woman, like real woman, and sometimes their ego, they're very egoistic. So you have to just really communicate with them. All right. So thank you so much, Polished Women. Next week we are going to have the financial advice, because after this I have like friends who had divorced and then they didn't get anything. So we're getting a financial advisor to help you women. So stay tuned for that. Give love to anybody that you see after watching this show. Bye.
You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.